guys, I'm Chico from Chico Study Corner and I'm back with the second part of Reproduction in Organism, Biology Class 12 chapter. So, if you haven't watched part 1, I will put it in the description below. Without any further ado, let's get into the video. So first, here I will be discussing about sexual reproduction. I discussed about asexual reproduction in my previous video and now about sexual reproduction. A sexually reproducing organism has its lifespan divided into 3. So we'll see which are there. Okay. So first one is, we'll write it's divided into 3. That is the lifespan of sexually reproducing organisms. Okay, sexually reproducing organisms have lifespan divided into 3. First one is juvenile. Second one is reproductive. Third one is old age. These are the terms only used for animals. You don't say for a plant it's the juvenile phase or the reproductive phase or the old age phase. For plants, the juvenile phase is called as the vegetative phase. The vegetative phase, and the reproductive phase is known as the flowering phase, and the old age is known as senescence. Okay, so these are the lifespan types or the categories. Over here, juvenile is the pre-reproductive. Okay, this is pre-reproductive, this is reproductive, and this is post-reproductive. Okay, these are the stages. Now let's learn about the plants. In plants, how is lifespan or what all types of lifespan are there? So first, we'll erase these and write it. So in plants, also there is 3 types. It is not phases, it's types. Okay. First one is annual, biennial, perennial. So what do you mean by annual? Annual means it is a plant that lives or that grows and gives its fruit in a year, and in a year or in a season, and it dies off. Whereas biennial is for 2 seasons or for 2 years it will grow and then die off. But perennial is not like that. It is long lived. It's actually, it lives for long period, like coconut trees are not, they're not biennial or annual, they are perennial. Now we just mentioning 2 points that might be helpful. So first one is about mammals. So mammals are of 2 types, primates and non-primates. So what is the difference between primates and non-primates? Primates have opposable thumb and well-developed brain, whereas non-primates doesn't have opposable thumb nor a well-developed brain. There are more features, but these 2 are the main distinctive features. And then what are the examples that comes under primates and non-primates? So under primates, us human beings are a good example, humans. And under non-primates, dogs, cats, and so on. Okay. Now we learn about a reproductive cycle that happens in sexually reproducing women or female. It can be, if it is in the case of human beings, it's women, or you can generally call it as the sexual reproductive or reproductive cycles in females. So we'll see that. So reproductive cycles are 2 types. That is estrous cycle and menstrual cycle. So what is estrous cycle and what's menstrual cycle? Estrous cycle happens in non-primates, whereas menstrual cycle happens in primates. Okay, so in for estrous cycle, they are called as seasonal breeders because they only breed during a particular season. Whereas menstrual cycle are called as continuous breeders. They can reproduce like in any season. It's not seasonal. Okay. And then coming to the next point, that is the endometrium of the estrous cycle happening organisms are not shed off, instead they are reabsorbed. Whereas in the case of menstrual cycle, over here what happens is the endometrium is shed off. Okay, and over here this example for estrous cycle is elephants, and whereas for menstrual cycle is human beings. For human beings, menstrual cycle happens in 28 days. So we'll discuss the next point. The next point is about the fertilization, the post-fertilization, pre-fertilization. I told you they are the steps inside a sexually reproducing organisms. So we'll see one by one in detail. So sexually reproducing organisms have what are fertilization, and post-fertilization. So what is pre-fertilization and post-fertilization? We'll discuss all of these in detail. So first is pre-fertilization. To talk about pre-fertilization, it also has a subdivision of two parts or two stages inside it. The two stages are, one is gametogenesis. The second one is gamete transfer. So what is gametogenesis? Gametogenesis is the formation of gametes, the production of gametes, whereas gamete transfer is transferring gametes from which helps in fusion. You have to transfer a gamete from one place to another where the other gamete is for fertilization. So this is gamete transfer and gametogenesis. So to talk about gametes are of two types. Okay, there are homogametes and heterogametes. What do you mean by homogametes? Similar kind of gametes. Whereas heterogametes are different kind of gametes. So the next point is sexuality in plants. So plants have two kinds, monoecious and dioecious. So these monoecious plants are plants that contain both the structures, both the reproductive structures. That is, they have both male and female present. Whereas for dioecious, it's either male or female. In plants, you can call it as unisexual and bisexual also. But in the case of fungi, you don't say it's a dioecious fungi or a monoecious fungi, and you say it as for fungi it is homothallic, and over here it is heterothallic. So an example of monoecious is coconut tree. So I will show you the flower of a coconut tree, a rough sketch. So a coconut tree flower has the flowers like this. Over here there are small petals like structures over here. All of this has the same structures. This is the female and this is the male part of a flower. So for monoecious flowers, we have there are two types of flowers. That is, I told you male and female. Female flowers are called as pistillate and male flowers are called as staminate. So the these are the kind of flowers inside a monoecious plant. For dioecious plants, they are like one plant will only have one sex or one reproductive gamete. So, example of dioecious is either papaya or date palm. So, to talk about papaya or date palm, the question arises where why should a orchard of papaya or date palm should have at least one male plant, because if the others are female plant doesn't like give fruits. It's just over there. It doesn't give fruits. It only has flowers and helps in pollination. So if there is no male plants, then there is no fertilization and resulting in no formation of fruits. So that is why each orchard should have at least one male plant for papaya or date. Okay. So now we'll discuss about gamete transfer. Gamete transfer is a it's a step that comes under pre-fertilization. So gametes are two types. We know gametes are male and female. So usually male gametes are motile and small, whereas female gametes are stationary and large. Okay. So male gametes require a medium for its motility. If this has to move, the male gamete has to move, it requires a medium. Next point that comes under it is male gametes are produced in huge number, in a very huge number, because the chance of fertilization is very less, because female egg or the female reproductive gamete is stationary. Until and unless the male gamete hits the right place, there won't be fusion. So if there's only one male gamete and one female gamete, the chance of fusion is very less, since this cannot move. So there is thousands of male gametes formed to increase the probability of fertilization. So to talk about gamete transfer in plants, we will see what is it. In plants, to talk about in plants, the gametes are inside the gametes are carried by some sources. So the male gamete or the male gamete is or held inside a pollen grain. Okay, whereas for a female gamete, it is the ovule where the female gamete is embedded. Okay, and these the male gametes are formed from the anther. Okay. So let's see what happens or what is the transfer called. The transfer of pollen grains or the transfer of male gametes is called as pollination. Pollination has many factors, like pollination is done by some animals, sometimes by wind, sometimes by running water, etc. So pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from one to the stigma, and which helps in the germination of the pollen grains. Okay. Now we have to learn about the term copulation. If pollination is the transfer of gametes in plants, then copulation is the transfer of gametes in animals. Pollination, plants. So this is the last topic for today's video. I hope you might have enjoyed it. If you did like my videos, please do hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. Share my video to your friends and see you in my next video. Till then, bye-bye.